Would you trust someone to tell you the truth who advocates for the taking the lives of unborn babies? Look, if someone will take the life of an unborn child, they're going to lie to you as well. And what we have going on in 10 states where abortion is on the ballot in this November, and I say abortion, these are not life initiatives, these are abortion initiatives. This is being pushed by the abortion crowd, the death crowd. We talked about this yesterday, Missouri. I was there this past Sunday. At Sunday night, we had a big event in Kansas City, Missouri, and it was a good event. We had Pastor Chris Williams on yesterday talking about this, and they're not the only state working it. There's several others, and what I want to do over the next several days is discuss each one of these ballot initiatives. South Dakota has become another one of these states where abortion activists have set their sights as they deceptively push Amendment G, a revision of the state's constitution that will allow abortion up until birth while removing health and safety measures for women. Join me now to explain the deceptive practices and what's being said to push the passage of Amendment G and why South Dakota voters must reject this amendment next month is Carolyn Woods, spokesperson for the Life Defense Fund. Carolyn, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thanks so much for having me on, Tony. I really appreciate it.
All right. So, Carolyn, tell our viewers and our listeners about Amendment G, what it would do.
Absolutely. Like you said, the first thing it does, it allows abortion through all 9 months. This is barbaric, it's inhumane, and it allows it for nearly any reason. So any abortion doctor can justify an abortion up till the moment of birth. Number two, like you said, it also risks health and safety protections. This means you don't have to be a doctor. It means you don't have to have wait times. It means you don't have to have parental consent, which leads to the third one. Parents don't get the right to know what is happening if their daughter is a minor and is getting an abortion. You actually have to, as a parent, you have to have a sign off on whether your daughter or your son gets ibuprofen in school, and yet this amendment would allow them to not have to sign off on an abortion. So you don't get the right to know as a parent. And number four, no conscious protections for doctors or nurses. And then number five, it would lead to taxpayer-funded abortion. So this is a very barbaric, very extreme, and very radical amendment here in South Dakota.
And they're trying to say, oh, this is just restoring it to the way it was prior to the overturn of Roe in the Dobbs decision. This goes way back. This goes back to 1973, where, as you pointed out, it's abortion until birth. And it opens the door, I would argue, to taxpayer funding of this as well, if it becomes a right in the Constitution.
Absolutely. And that's what's so barbaric and inhumane about this whole thing is they want you to pay for it. Once, this in the state constitution, every single law in our books currently will be overridden, will be canceled. And so a lot of times they're saying, oh, this is the will of the people. No, they broke election law to get this on the ballot and they deceived voters saying it's a pro-life measure, it's a grocery tax measure. So they obviously use slimy tactics that are unlawful, which is why we actually have sued them and we're going to trial in December. We're going to hold them accountable no matter what, if this thing passes or doesn't pass. And also, they also say, oh, this is just, Roe v. Wade. It's just the same exact thing. Well, let me just tell you, no, it's not. When Roe v. Wade was land of the law here in South Dakota and across the United States, it was only up to 22 weeks, and here in South Dakota, and most of the abortions were done before 15 weeks. So that's actually completely a lie. And they just continue to lie. They've continued to put this on the ballot and have lied to get it here in the first place. And they're continuing to tell people that, we are this is the will of the people. It's not the will of the people at all.
Well, again, if someone is going to take the life of an unborn child, they'll lie to you as well. So you cannot believe anything that they are saying. I want to ask you this question about the court case that was they've postponed that until December. What happens if this somehow gets approved and then the court case comes up? Is the court case dismissed? You can't reverse a constitutional amendment, can you?
Sure. And no, that's a great question. You can't reverse a constitutional amendment. However, we are still going to hold them accountable no matter if this passes or doesn't pass. So even if it, let's say, passes, which Lord forbid it does here, and we're working very hard with Life Defense Fund here to have that not happen. But even if it did, no, we can go back to, we can still go to court, we can go to trial and say, hey, you still broke election law to get this on the ballot, and that's unacceptable. It's illegal, and you need to pay for your crimes.
So here's the best thing that the voters in South Dakota could do with that in mind is just vote this thing down.
Absolutely.
And vote against Amendment G, because it's been deceptive from the start, one, and two, and more importantly, this would enshrine in your state's constitution abortion, and you've been one of the most pro-life states in the country. This would be abhorrent for the state of South Dakota. Carolyn, out of time, I want to thank you for the work. How can people find out more about what you're doing in South Dakota?
Yes, absolutely. Go to lifedefensefund.com. We'd love for you to donate, help out, reach out to us. We're here stopping this thing. We have yard signs. Even if people are stealing them and wreaking havoc on them, we are replenishing them. We are here for the fight, and we are here to protect women and children. And so we'd love for you to join our cause. And I really appreciate you having us on, Tony, to highlight this important Amendment G.
All right, Carolyn, thanks for joining us.